Got a few extra moments here, so I just want to, you know, we'll go into the pick and bans anyway. I'll save that question for later. It's a question about the grand finals. Let's look at what we got in front of us. vengeurR versus RAISY coming up. Awoken, Ruins, Corrupted Keep, Blood Run, and Molten Falls. Let's talk a little bit about what we see here.
Well, vengeur's banned the clutch, which is a very good start, but he does have the Doom pick once again. So we're going to see if RAISY continues to focus on that positional advantage, which he did with the Doom last time. But again, vengeurR does have that Ranger, so if he wants to try and at least orb through the telly to try and catch his opponent off guard or try and do some extra damage, which he has done on numerous occasions, that should be a huge one. And of course the Sorlag is going to be an interesting one to see how he actually pans out on Ruins. But a lot of these maps are kind of what we expected. We know, of course, RAISY isn't too keen on Blood Covenant either. He's banned it almost every single time throughout the entire weekend.
I'll be honest and say I haven't seen RAISY play Keel or Slash an awful lot, so that'll be super interesting if we get to the latter stages. I think vengeurR will find it a little bit tough on Corrupted Keep with with RAISY in the pace of Anarchy, so I have to be positionally on point with the Visor, but that's what Visor's there to do. The rest of it, meeting aggression with aggression, lots of mirror matchups throughout, so it'll be a good set of games for the first three, and then a bit more interesting as we move into Keel and Slash. That, as I said, I don't know how RAISY will perform on those two.
Yeah, as mentioned before, I mean, vengeurR did take RAISY out earlier 2-1, but now that it's a best of 5, if he could force the kind of deeper maps, RAISY might be playing champions that he's not as comfortable with. I mean, everybody is good with every champion, but some more preferred than others, so it'll be interesting if it goes the distance to see if that plays into the series at all.
Also important to note that Awoken last time RAISY had clutch in his matchup, so it was essentially a free win, and vengeurR still walked away with the series, so taking that away definitely levels this now quite a lot.
All right, well, as we are about ready to hop into it real quickly, any predictions across the board?
I'll jump in and I'll say 3-2 RAISY.
I'm going to go 3-2 vengeurR actually this time round.
I'll go 3-1 RAISY. I'll go 3-1.
All right, well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to hop into the loser bracket final. The winner of this matchup will be going up against Rafa in the grand finals, but there's a best of 5 in front of us. In order for that to happen, it's now time for us to shoot it over to our commentators. Let's give it up for Ketchup and Flea.
Thank you very much, guys. And I mean, all I can really say before we get into this is strap yourselves in for the long haul, because of all matches today that have the chance of going down to a final map and a close exchange, this is the matchup to wait for.
Absolutely, both of these players, as we discussed earlier, have quite a bit of experience playing against each other, although RAISY himself admitted perhaps not practicing against his teammate as much as he should. And for those of you who missed yesterday's matches, it was actually vengeurR who came out on top and beat RAISY on day 2. So that's something to look out for today. Quick opening, a lot of aggression. RAISY, perfect read, very quick frag, just 15 seconds into this first map of the series, and immediately the Hungarian player putting himself one step closer to victory.
Not only was that a stylish way to start things off, but it was super execution heavy. The rails that he was able to hit in those situations, especially when he was getting caught by the lightning gun, normally a position that you do not want to get caught out on. And if even one of those rails missed, then vengeurR would have had more opportunities than he ended up having. However, RAISY hitting every single shot, making it count, already 1-0 up. And that's a great rocket, carrying that momentum from the teleporter so vengeurR can't chase.
Very crucial rail from vengeurR earlier too. Railgun was the only weapon he really had. Didn't have LG, didn't have rockets based on where he spawned. So if RAISY had rocket jumped himself straight up the bounce pad, he should have been able to steal Mega and probably get another frag. But vengeurR landing that shot sent his opponent spiraling backwards. Quick exchange, orb flying on by, and it will be vengeurR using that orb expertly to get himself the high ground and a better position on that next major item. Now RAISY down below. Both players just slowly walking around, RAISY even avoiding picking up the hourglasses, sending his opponent spiraling out of the ring into the cold, watery depths of Awoken. RAISY expanding his lead already. I like the rocket jump from vengeurR there, knowing that he just lacks the weapons. That is a fumble, that is a bad mess up. RAISY has to forego the Mega because he messed up picking the heavy before the rocket jump. This is a good opportunity from vengeurR. This little slip up could put him in an advantageous position.
Knock-on effect does mean there is going to be at least a 5-second difference between the two items actually spawning, which may come to help a little bit later, but you know that wasn't objective number 1. You know, this was just simply a plan B for a piece of fumbled rocket jump. And RAISY keeping a lead, going for a why not rail. May as well go for it if you know he's going to be up there. Lovely shot the second time round though, and it's put vengeurR low. Absolutely. And with there being a heavy spawning RAISY, it's likely he's looking for it. Okay, he's being careful. Okay, he's going to get the heavy. Reposition, another rail to shut things down. RAISY trying to bait out a projectile. Projectile rocket. Wrong word, everyone. Lovely. But here we go into this next fight. vengeurR's going to drop again. RAISY's been looking rock solid this entire map, Flea.
Oh, absolutely. The rail from RAISY has been his primary weapon so far. He mentioned it during the interview. He was working hard against the hang, landing so many good shots with that particular weapon. And he is clearly just carrying it on into this next match as well. vengeurR getting punished by the rail time and time again, and that is helping RAISY out so much. Actually messing up that little jump. One of his signature moves, I feel like he uses it more than any other player in the league. Still though, difficult to pull off, as RAISY clearly demonstrated. He is just gonna go for it, clutching the top of that bounce pad.
I did like his timing, catching the rhythm of the rockets in between, minimal damage dealt. Now he's gonna look to put himself towards heavy for another time. Good position from vengeurR to get some rocket damage, but that second rail was a beautiful stuff. 4-0 now, in a short space of time.
I love that little double jump right there. Expecting his opponent to be there. vengeurR waiting around the corner, just trying to react to whatever RAISY might come up with. But unfortunately for him, his positioning got read like an open book. vengeurR manages to steal away. The Mega actually has a pretty good shot. 7 points of health. RAISY manages to survive. That was painfully close. Ketchup really could have gone vengeurR's way right there.
The rails have been off the charts from RAISY so far. They've meant so much. vengeurR consistently getting kept behind. He's still railable from this health. 66 is not going to save you. RAISY being careful now. Absolutely, his life depends on it. Oh, he's around the corner. Can he get the armor? Yes, he can. vengeurR doesn't choose to push it forward. With the Mega about to spawn, he's prioritizing stack. Remember, 6-0 may look like quite the deficit, but on a map like Awoken this small, with 6 minutes left to go, that is plenty of time.
RAISY indeed, just playing it safely right now. He is not going to be contesting for any of the next items. He knows that his opponent vengeurR just has a stack, a monstrous stack to work with, and he does not want to be anywhere near this. Might go in for a sneaky little shot. Good thing for him that vengeurR was looking the wrong direction, because that could have ended so poorly for Maestro RAISY. Doing a little bit of damage and still playing that evasive game. Now, at the very least, he's gotten himself that base 100-100 stack. He actually catches vengeurR in a bad position. He knows when Heavy is about to spawn, and he will be able to steal it. vengeurR overextending slightly right there, not covering all of his bases, but that LG. vengeurR, if he had committed to that, I don't think RAISY would have made it through the window. That probably would have been a frag for the Italian.
And now RAISY's playing it nice and careful. He is the one that's leading the charge in frags, and the longer he remains undetected, and the easier it is for him to collect these smaller items to bring himself back up to a normal stack. Gives him a chance. You know, one single rail that's unreturned, and you've kind of even things. That rail was delicious. It's got to be quite frustrating from vengeurR. Every time there's an angle, RAISY seems to be on the money. How do you mount a comeback when you're constantly taking rails like this? You feel comfortable and then one rail comes through. Okay, I guess I've got less armor and health now. Great.
The orb could very well be instrumental to that comeback. Your opponent keeps railing you. You want to cross the distance, close the gap in between the both of you. Just get nice up close and personal. Use that orb, the rockets, and the lack of self-damage you take as Ranger to your best advantage. Ooh. That could have taken out RAISY if that rail had connected. vengeurR getting closer though.
Yeah, unfortunately it didn't hit its mark. The difference really has been RAISY hitting just shy of absolutely everything. Another chase to come through, likely to have to fight here. He's going to shut down the Mega at the very least. So even if vengeurR is somehow able to pick up this frag, he's not going to get any reward for it really, besides a frag. To control that rail from RAISY again. Man just refuses to miss right now, Flea. What a start.
RAISY is crazy. I don't think there's anything more we can say about that. This railgun accuracy has been obscene, and these haven't even been easy shots that you can consistently hit. This man is just absolutely pummeling vengeurR right now.
Annihilation.
Using the double jump to great effect there as well, giving himself that extra bit of height to use the rockets even more effectively. RAISY's just gonna let his opponent go right there. He knows 3 minutes left. He's got a huge lead. He doesn't have to chase. He can just loop back around, go to the Mega, rather than taking a shortcut and allowing his opponent potentially to steal the item. Now vengeurR, finally the rail kicking into gear. That's 1, 2, 3 in a row. But the time is not on his side, Ketchup.
Looking at his stack, or lack of in this case, we have to point out that if he missed that rail, RAISY had the shotgun out for a reason. But the last minute double jump, Berserk has been activated. RAISY's using it simply to reposition though, which is the right thing to do. That wasn't a voice crack, I promise. My voice always sounds like this. Here comes another fight near the middle. Outside of range of LG, not that it really matters. Another frags can go to vengeurR. If he gets a really good string of these frags, Flea, the daisy chain effect.
It's possible. It absolutely is doable. There we go. Yep, the orb coming out. Expert usage of that ability as we are used from Maestro vengeurR. But he needs more. And now, that difference in mobility is really going to start coming into play. RAISY, of course, on the Doomslayer, he has that double jump to work with, and vengeurR, yes, he can rocket jump around. He still takes self-damage, and that orb is only up every half a minute or so, and he doesn't have that many more minutes to work with, so RAISY clearly in the better position to play the runaway game.
And he is likely to play the game of defense. Speaking of which, those defensive rockets were phenomenal. It's put vengeurR behind again, where now the frag can be perfectly set up. He's already absorbed quite a few of these light healths, and all things considered, I mean, there's not much he can do to restack in this situation. Doesn't want to teleport in, because that would for sure be a death sentence.
Yeah.
Now, although we have to think of the idea that vengeurR might be able to score a frag here, of which he does, he needs to focus on health too. The danger is that he hasn't got a lot of time to focus on said health, because we have 55 seconds on the clock. See if we can get the frags needed. He's chasing. At least Ranger takes less damage from rockets. Stealth damage than other champions.
Oh, that is... You can feel the frustration in vengeur's movement right now. RAISY, he can hear him, he can smell him. Oh! And apparently he can rail him too. Catch up 30 seconds. He's going to be able to pick up the heavy. Mega probably will be going to RAISY if he knows it's up. Actually, RAISY just gonna go full passive right now. Isn't even going to show his face around the major item anymore. Okay. Can vengeurR find him? He's got the orb. He can go through the teleporter. Won't catch sight of RAISY though. Here we go, setting up a nice trap. He's gonna find the Doomslayer, but he needs more than to just find him. Oh! No! He hits his head.
No,
with the rocket jump.
Oh, bonk. That's gonna be the end of the map, Flea.
Yeah.
Tries to chase it down and just gets caught by the ceiling right there, and it shuts down his jump. Tragic way to just shy of make the comeback. Not quite able to do it, but we've got to give RAISY his props. The way he played the vast majority, the entirety of that map, in fact. Incredible stuff. It took vengeurR a long time to even start to get going, so 1-0.
I also really like how RAISY played those final few minutes, not just running away entirely, even though he probably could. But there was that point where vengeurR was going from the railgun towards Mega. RAISY could have just ran away, but instead he looked at the clock and he said, hey, 2 minutes left, I'm 4 frags ahead. You know, if I make a stand here, even if I die, I still have a lot of wiggle room. So why not just stand here, double jump up, rain some rockets down from above, and that is going to, if it works out, even if I end up dying, I am going to cost vengeurR a lot of precious time. So he felt like that was a worthy investment of time, and I think it definitely was, because it bought him a pretty decent opportunity to stave off his opponent's offensive for those final precious few seconds. So well played, RAISY. One map closer to meeting Rafa in the grand finals once again.
There's still impressive showings from vengeurR all the same. I mean, look at how long it took vengeurR to even begin to start anything. Like, we're just about to go 7 minutes in, and it was 7-0. And from this position, you know, even that one fight there that started to daisy chain the potential of the comeback, not a lot of players would be able to put that many frags together in such a short space of time where the comeback was even possible. I think a lot of players would be looking at that deficit and going, the map's pretty much over. But when it comes to someone like vengeurR, you just can't ever count him out until the point comes where it's mathematically impossible. Really good rail accuracy considering just how many he fired off as well, by the way.
Yeah, indeed, RAISY. I mean, we were talking about that, right? RAISY's rail was such an instrument of destruction, a tool of death this entire map. We even talked about him using it effectively earlier as well. So absolutely beautiful shots. And you asked the question during the map, what do you do against something like this when every single time you show your face, you take that 90 damage blast and then your opponent just disappears? It's not as if you can chase him down and do that consistent return damage. You're just sitting there and taking the beating over and over again, so that's extremely difficult to deal with. And I wonder how this is going to go down on Ruins, because this also tends to be a pretty rail-heavy map.
If RAISY is hitting rails like that on this map, he is going to have quite the advantage fresh off the starting line. But vengeurR is said to have been he's been a bit of a tournament favorite this weekend with how he's been looking, and as we start things off, it's vengeurR that gets the rail side spawn. He's getting plenty of information already, thanks to the noise that Sorlag's making, but it seems like RAISY has a bit of a fair idea himself over where vengeurR is going to be located. Both champions capable of fast movement, so it's not going to be like we normally see. You know, one medium champion normally having to chase one of the lighter or more fast-paced champions. Right now, both people can fly around.
And we have been talking a lot about RAISY so far, but we also can't lose track of the fact that vengeurR has beaten his teammate twice this LAN as well as the previous Grand Finals as well. So clearly vengeurR, a force to be reckoned with as well, has to give way though. RAISY, that is the risk when you're caught out in a situation like that with the railgun. You fire the shot, if you land it, you're good. If you miss it, that reload, that delay between shots is so punishing. But vengeurR, instant on the refrag, just oppressive with the LG.
I think that kind of rail hurts to miss. It's a complete death sentence. There's nothing you can do to stop the punish that comes afterwards. Also, it's going to keep RAISY having the biggest stack imaginable. There's really nothing stopping him from pushing in now if he wants to. He has the stack. vengeurR able to deny the Mega, which is a great start, and some bonus damage from the Pika, but he's going to have to trade it. But you know what? Considering how stacked RAISY was, I don't think that's a major loss for vengeurR, because look at his stack now, he's come back.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say missing the kill shot, but next time around though he lands it perfectly. And indeed, that Peeker did a ton of damage. The only problem is that vengeurR didn't quite get around the corner before dropping it, so he took a lot himself. Now it's Rockets versus LG. RAISY pushing it aggressively. What a beautiful mid-air shot! But 2 points of health, catch-up. That's all it took for RAISY to stay alive and clean up that frag. Now he is low though, and vengeurR knows this. Looks like vengeurR is going to prioritize item control before going in for more damage. Smart decision, because we all know Sorlag, she's a thick lady. She's got that monster stack to work with. Excellent read though, the LG. Punishing indeed, and vengeurR is going to get another frag on the board. This is a pretty aggressive and fast Ruins catch-up. Very often this is the kind of map that drags out a bit, but we've already seen 7 frags in 2.5 minutes.
There's 2 champions that are capable of flying across the map and 2 players that know each other extremely well. It's definitely not the kind of pace that we're normally used to seeing on Ruins, but I guess before we can even finish talking about the style of play that they're putting forward, it just continues to be the case. Mega is going to be the next objective. Looks like vengeurR's been able to beat him to the punch. Bit of a brave jump pad usage there from RAISY, sticking around with the rail. Lots of confidence in his own aim. Has to watch out, because that one connecting gives vengeurR not only the frag, but the free Mega and a perfect spawn. Good catch.
That was just overconfident from RAISY. We saw it earlier against the Hang as well. Or, yeah, he gave up some frags earlier today in a similar fashion, not against the Hang, but he has to be careful. Once he gets into the groove, he starts hitting those rails, but still, there is a really good opportunity that you will miss them when you need them the most. And so after taking that 61 damage rocket, he still decided to just go over the bounce pad, which almost guaranteed vengeurR a pretty nasty rail of his own. So that's a lot of damage that you take before you can even retaliate, and then your aim has to be on point to make anything happen. And I think that was just too much confidence, a bit of a misguided play. But here we go, vengeurR, he's got the high ground, he's got the better position. Rockets from above, RAISY, the super shot, he is strong, but not nearly strong enough as vengeurR survives with 5 points of health and actually takes the lead for the first time this map.
Looking to refrag though, RAISY knows how weak vengeurR is, and the starting shotgun's going to do a pretty damn fine job at that. And he leaves the Mega up so he can collect it. Now with a rocket in hand, a rail's good to go as well. The only thing he's lacking is an LG. Looks like it's his objective. vengeurR already having it good to go, and a heavy as a reward. Means that if we do push in for a fight, RAISY has to hit even more of these shots. The shotgun's all he can really rock, and wait a minute, he almost did it! But 9 HP left for vengeurR. Now this is a bad position to get caught. Is RAISY gonna look to refrag? No, he's in position. Oh, that missed rail might be a bit of a death sentence. He peeks it again. Wow, the confidence from vengeurR.
Yeah. Just a bullet or two would have finished him off right there, but still going for the angles, looking for the shots. That is vengeurR for you, the party boy from Italy. He's young, he's sprightly, he wants the action. Good rail that is actually going to make RAISY fall back just slightly, but it won't be enough to actually drop him down in full. Now RAISY. No player really has gotten consistent control for more than a minute or so, but after this frag, RAISY will be able to secure Mega. Heavy is up in just a few seconds, but vengeur's positioning perfect. If he hadn't taken that rail, it would have been a free item. But RAISY though, powers on with 10 points of health to put him back into the lead.
There is an unfathomable amount of confidence coming out from RAISY so far. The amount of times he's straight up dropping down on a vengeurR who he knows has a lightning gun out, yet he continues to push. In a good position for the Mega. No rockets though, so this push will be quite interesting without it. Again, the push down, but I think there is a little bit of overconfidence from RAISY in these situations.
I mean, same with the railgun from earlier, right? He just sometimes shouldn't be pushing for these situations. It is paying off sometimes. But if it fails once or twice in a row, your opponent is gonna run away with a frag, full control, and a lot more to boot. Now vengeurR, can he dodge the rail? Love that. Love the little sidestep walking into the room and then right back at ya. I don't think vengeurR had timing on that Mega. Otherwise he should have been able to take that with ease, but he actually just walked straight off it, and now it's RAISY who managed to secure it. vengeurR has to go back to the drawing board. Heavy is about to spawn, but he cannot show his face, or he will drop down that.
That was a nice idea though, knowing that Peak is going to get taken out and he tries to get a free rail during the rail's cooldown period. Pretty common but advanced level tactic that we do see from Strog players, using the Pika to soak up a free shot.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes less time to have the peeker die and then fire a follow-up rail shot than it does to fire a rail and then wait for the reload or the delay before you can pull that trigger again. Defensive heavy nails come out. This is good. Misses the flick, and RAISY will connect it. Ketchup, we've got 3 minutes left. I think that both of these players are probably going to start toning down these rushes sooner rather than later, because that's all fine and dandy when you've got seas of times ahead of you to still make a comeback happen. But when we're getting this close to the end, if your opponent all of a sudden gets that 1 or 2 frag lead and decides to play the passive game, you could very well be in trouble.
We can see here RAISY's the sneaky boy as he allows vengeurR in and out, completely undetected. The heavy is what matters here. Now with the denial, vengeurR, he's going to take a bunch of damage. The ticking effect. I love the filth, by the way. Did you notice RAISY spat acid on the floor with the water, and then vengeurR just jumps straight into it? But there's plenty of time for RAISY to set that all up, to just simply add to the damage that chunks away. Nice fight.
And this is where things might start to get a little bit worrisome for vengeurR. If RAISY now just sticks to the basics, get himself the base health as he just did, and now secures 2 small armors, he is really not in too bad of a shape to play the passive and reactionary game for the remaining 2 minutes. Yes, vengeurR has the stack advantage, but RAISY, he's a heavy champion. Even with his base stack, he's pretty damn tanky. And then of course he's got that air control movement as well, with a lot of nice little horizontal rocket jumps to help him out. But that is exactly how you deal with it. The railgun, that should be the weapon of choice for vengeurR to chase down his opponent. RAISY still showing up. 2 points of health, Ketchup, he has to get out.
The problem is as well is that the ticking acid combined with the damage noises of the Strog. That's just all information for RAISY. And he's out. I mean, I feel like with his low stack, there is a nature of delaying the inevitable here. But, I mean, delay it as long as possible, my dude. Like, this is what you have to do. The 1 minute warning is starting to appear. RAISY has just been so irritating to pin down. And the big push coming out from vengeurR, the LG quite rightly so. And he secures a frag. Can he find him in 1 minute and 10 seconds?
Finding, I don't think it's going to be the issue. It is going to be actually landing the shots and getting the frag, and RAISY not ready to just run for it yet. He is still going for these sneaky rails, trying to do damage. This is risky though, because all he has is a railgun and a super shotty. Oh, vengeurR just in time. 2 more ticks of that blossom would have finished him off right there. Rockets are solid. RAISY!
Trade! Who spawns where? That's the question. RAISY spawns near... Oh, that's a bad time to spawn near Mega if you're in vengeur's position.
Yeah.
RAISY spawned near a giant source of stack. A good call out from vengeurR on the light at the very least. But there's a lot of health for Sorlag to work with. vengeurR needs to find him now, and he needs to hit those shots. A single miss could be catastrophic. This late on, 15 seconds on the clock. Can he find him? And can he finish him?
RAISY setting up in his comfort zone. That's something you see a lot of people do right down there at the teleporter. He gets railed though. 30 points of health. vengeurR is chasing. 1 second left on the clock, and RAISY ducks behind the ledge and secures himself map to catch up a tickle of LG. If vengeurR had only sneezed on his opponent, that would have been a tied map still, but RAISY managing to run it down in the very end.
100% possibility that RAISY was clenching hard after that one. I'm pretty sure every single person watching the stream was feeling a certain way about that, but how much time was he able to waste in those final moments? vengeurR, we've got to give him his shout-outs. He made it so close, but I mean, so close but so far. Never has a sentence been more appropriate, even down to some of these situations. That final frag where the trade occurred, where RAISY pushes all the way in, the fact that that wasn't where things just ended is a testament to vengeur's rockets and just combat when the clutch comes. But he just couldn't quite finish it, Flea. Heartbreaking.
Yeah. Risky play from RAISY though. When he pushed in for that one, I really wasn't sure if he was going to be able to win that one, because yes, he started with the opening damage, but having to push to a choke point like that against someone with vengeur's rockets, and vengeurR is widely known to have some of the best rockets in the entire world, a tiny little bit more splash damage on one of these earlier rockets, and RAISY would have just died right there given the frag up. Yeah, look at that, how close that one was. Could have really gone either way, and then again those heartbreaking final few seconds. RAISY crouching down behind the ledge, staying alive a second long enough.
So, we're going to go from one pretty extreme map to the next, as the next destination is going to be Corrupted Keep, a map that RAISY is notoriously dangerous on. So, considering, yeah, I mean, look no further than the nickname that the community gave it a long time ago, you know, right? Even when it was pretty much the new map. It was the map that everyone was kind of diving into, and RAISY was that first player that just kind of commanded it, you know what I mean? But that was crazy thing how that's already been like 3 years ago, by the way. Time flies, but 2-0 up is RAISY. If he wins this next map, we're going to get somewhat of a dream finals as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah. I am a little concerned about the Visor pick. vengeurR is running Visor on Corrupted Keep up against the Anarchy played by RAISY. And of course, Visor, a very strong pick. That piercing sight gives you so much information, but does it really work that well on Corrupted Keep, one of the already smallest maps in the game? Usually, more often than not, these top-level players, they can have a pretty good read on where their opponent is even without that ability.
Looks like we're just about to load in and start things. I mean, matchup-wise, there's a lot to consider if you're in vengeur's position, because we've been spending all weekend talking about his kind of climb across the course of the year, how he, really this time last year when QuakeCon happened, there was that performance, I believe it was nosfer versus vengeurR, that nosfer really stepped up that day. vengeurR was understandably disappointed, and then as each stage has progressed and we reach the finals, vengeurR has been getting closer and closer to absolute victory. And he does get better every time we roll these out, but this has without question been, I think, his most talented tournament. It would be a shame to see him go down of this manner. A 3-0, I think, is the least likely result between these two players. Very evenly matched, great respect for one another. They do go the distance when they play together historically. But a 3-0, it's just, if it happens, it's RAISY being on absolute top form. And he is a player that's looking to correct stage 3. He wants to do better than he did last time.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, this is still vengeur's best land finish already, right? First, he ended up 5th place, Stage 2 finals. Stage 3 finals, he ended up 4th place. Now he's already guaranteed a 3rd place, so he just keeps on improving step by step, little by little. But of course, he wants that big breakthrough. He wants that grand final spot and even to put his name on the belt. And I think a lot of people will agree that he deserves it too. The Italian stallion, Kid Bellissimo from Maestro. But who knows, he still has to beat his own teammate and he's 2 maps down already.
We're looking at the matchup as well, which is going to be Visor versus Anarchy. So if RAISY can get that snowball effect rolling early, the speed is going to be quite overwhelming. And it has been many, many times on Corrupted Keep. But it's just something about when RAISY gets a hold of control over this map with a champion like Anarchy who's got the injection to help himself whenever he wants. The movement is crazy effective on this kind of map. I'm a little bit worried for vengeurR, to be honest with you. There's all the chance that if RAISY plays his cards right early, he can establish quite a lot of dominance here.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too. I don't think the added value that you get from the piercing side is as great on this particular map as it is on many of the others. And meanwhile, RAISY playing Anarchy, he can just run circles around you for days with that injection at the ready as well. And that means that he can just play the heavy armor game, doesn't even have to prioritize the mega as much as you otherwise might. So I really do think that it's going to be important that vengeurR doesn't give up any of these early frags, because otherwise RAISY is likely to just run with it.
Fight.
So it looks like we're about to start things. Here we go. RAISY currently 2-0 up. Is this going to be a 3-0, or is vengeurR going to begin something of a chance? Sounds like a fight's going to break out already. What's the damage looking like? Oh, answer. Big. So much of it from those light champions. The super shotgun, quite the miracle weapon. RAISY's going to drop again. And here comes the Corrupted Keep effect.
Absolutely strong start, and that extra little bit of base stack, no doubt, is helping vengeurR out now as well. Look at how quickly RAISY's stack melts away when peppered with that LG, but oh my goodness, the super shoddy from below. RAISY just absolutely not pulling his punches right now, rushing heavy, immediately making his way over to Mega as well, and now the rockets from above, they are hurting. I like the extra injection and staying back as well. A lot of players would have just chased blindly around the corner where vengeurR was waiting with the super shotgun, and they would have dropped that instantly, but RAISY popping up with the injection, knowing that this isn't a completely safe situation, and then even holding back so he doesn't expose himself to that full point-blank damage.
That super shotgun definitely forces you to respect its range currently. And with RAISY having to concede that heavy, no way he can contest for it. Nice opening rocket, but a whole bunch of delicious lightning gun to answer back. All right, there's the piercing sight. RAISY heard it. There's have to be quite a lot of care in that potential fight. Looks like vengeurR's not actually interested in fighting just yet. Opening rocket's going to do 100 damage for RAISY. vengeurR, I think the armor was already taken, so it's not going to be around for him to take. Can he push in? Both of these items. RAISY putting a delay in between them. Wait for the safe time to go in. Nice rocket jump to catch it on the way. This was a good sequence for RAISY right here.
Game has started to slow down a fair bit. RAISY more setting up for a trap rather than continuing that neck-breaking pace from earlier. Oh, this is a strange engagement. RAISY was not expecting his opponent there at all. Should be able to at least get a hold of the heavy. But he needs to do a lot more. vengeurR now in a bad spot. Defensive rockets on point. Mega will be going to RAISY though. Playing it safe, playing it safe. I think he has a really good idea of where vengeurR is at in particular, but he just doesn't want to push his luck knowing that that super shotgun is so powerful in these fights. So instead he prioritizes the small armor as well as some more stack. Shoddy from below, RAISY in trouble. Can he get out? 5 points of health, even that heavy, it won't shield him now. Oh no! Okay. Where did that come from, Ketchup?
vengeurR's rocket launcher. Where else? In this situation, his ability to get those ridiculous rockets, definitely something that makes him quite the fan favorite. But I guess the question is now, what has it led to? What does this mean? vengeurR keeps a good stack. Stack might be on borrowed time on a map this combat heavy. Super shotgun absolutely serving a purpose on a map like this. You know, RAISY's a player that will use it when necessary, but here comes some initial rockets. RAISY having to stick around. Can't allow vengeurR to just simply take this. The piercing sight gives him all the information that he needs. And for the retreat, which might be another pickup, it depends on who's faster on the shotgun trigger finger. It's going to be RAISY.
I feel like the piercing sight actually hurt him there. He was looking at just the right situation, and then he popped the sight the moment that RAISY drops down. He had to wait for like half a second before he could even return firing, but still coming out on top with the refrag, instantly knowing very well that his opponent is low on health. Having a pretty good read on RAISY's location there as well. Oh no, he's actually getting pushed back too far, but RAISY again, Ketchup perhaps a bit too overconfident, pushing where he absolutely shouldn't have.
He had the right idea in terms of really taking vengeurR by surprise. It's just the return fire was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think it was the sheer amount of damage taken in a short time that RAISY might not have been fully prepared for. I think he truly believed he could win that fight, otherwise he wouldn't have pushed. That rocket definitely hurts, but so does that one. RAISY currently winning in the game of armor. Looked like the injection just got popped as well. No, it didn't, sorry. Excuse me. He just picked up a light instead. And now it's... there it is. Now he pops it.
Both players, very little armor to work with right now. That is going to hurt RAISY more, as he is indeed the small champion. vengeurR first one to get positioning on heavy, but he has to be careful. RAISY coming in aggressively, and this is where that piercing sight does help out so much. It might not be as effective as on some other maps. Oh, those shoddy. Or rather, he's getting ready to switch to the shotgun, waiting for RAISY to push through the door. Okay. Secures the Mega instead. But I am liking the use of the piercing sight. vengeurR is really not using it as much. Yeah, vengeurR is not using it to just have a general idea of where RAISY is. He uses it when they get into a fight so that he can jump behind the wall and still have a perfect read on RAISY's angle of attack. And that is working out wonders for him.
He is crazy healthy now. RAISY's pathing to pick up as many of those light healths as he possibly could. Nice LG. That's going to put vengeurR in a really tricky position. Not just for the damage, but for the pushback as well. It's just going to make it so there's no way he can chase this one down. He's not going to push. Doesn't want to completely concede this fight. RAISY dodging the rocket. The art of not moving at all. Shouts to Cooler. But 5-5 now. Able to equalize.
Oh, good damage. Into the LG, vengeurR. All he has to work with is the super shoddy in that situation. Now he's got himself a rockets as well, but still lacking the lightning gun. RAISY, however, not interested in trying to force out a medium distance fight. He's just gonna go in aggressively. Forcing out the spawn. Actually backfire tremendously. Oh, RAISY. Ketchup, he was holding back, forcing out the respawn, but then his opponent just picked up the nails, rushed on by, did a lot of damage, and stole away the Mega.
Speaking of stolen, that light's going to go to vengeurR as well. And this is a great rhythm to start to practice, because there's just a significant lack of armor for RAISY. He's going to have a really hard time cementing himself back into this map if vengeurR takes every armor. That's an easy rocket round the corner, and he's looking to force the spawn again, and he's bang on the money.
Even using the horizontal rocket jump to get there faster. Good direct rocket at point blank range, and another one. Ketchup, is that one misplay from RAISY going to end up costing him the map? That forced respawn rather than just secure the item straight away?
The wheels are moving.
Yeah, it really looks like that might have been a turning point in this map, as vengeurR is now steadily increasing his lead with just 3 minutes left on the clock.
If RAISY is completely unable to get any armor, he's going to have a miserable time trying to make this comeback. Speaking of armor, I think vengeurR, perfect timing on the light. And RAISY can't hang around and wait for this one. There's just pretty much no armor for him to take. And if he has to fight now, what do you even do to survive? If vengeurR hits even normal shots, good rocket.
Yep. The rocket dropping vengeurR down, however, bellissimo. That was a beautiful flyby rocket, aided of course by RAISY's damage in the beginning, sending him flying overhead. Now RAISY, I think RAISY has been forcing these fights too much. I'm seeing a bit of Tox's major flaw right now. Just pushing when you're behind, constantly hoping to make something happen on the refrag or just going for it with the base weaponry. And it's just not working out for him. He might actually achieve something this time, but he's already given up 4 frags doing just that. And now vengeurR has twice the amount of points that he has with less than 2 minutes on the clock.
Well, RAISY did get a pretty big victory there, being able to take away the heavy. It did shut down vengeur's ability to just control all of these. Now, a tiny map like this, we saw at the start of the map how many frags can ramp up on top of one another. But a minute and a half to get this many frags is quite the tall order on someone like vengeurR, who hits amazing rockets. Now, 4 frags in a minute and a half is absolutely possible. And he's caught the spawn. Wait a minute. Never say never, Flea. But it looks like RAISY. Has he been able to shut down the shotgun?
Yeah, vengeurR unable to even get the shot in because RAISY put himself into that suppressive position so quickly. But still though, he doesn't need position, he doesn't need stack or weapons, he needs kills. And that is what he's lacking right now. And now vengeurR
1 minute warning.
laying out some nice evasive moves of his own.
4 frags in 1 minute. Can RAISY do this? It's looking unlikely, and I think that rocket might have sealed his fate.
Yep. I think that vengeur's defensive plays towards the end really powerful as well. Just instead of running, when he figured that he would die, rather than just burn down the clock, he actually made a stand, turned around the corner with that rocket out, so that when RAISY jumps behind him, yes, he's still gonna go down, yes, he's still gonna give up a frag, but he's going to deal a ton of damage on his own. And that, over time, just forced RAISY into also considering resource management and forcing his opponent into picking up these items rather than just chasing blindly. And that was instrumental to vengeurR staying clear of his opponent.
He's gonna go down for one more time.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna mean anything as vengeurR, that one moment where he established complete control of, I mean, pretty much everything on the map, right? Two of the light armors, both of the major items. RAISY was getting caught on spawn. There was almost completely nothing he could do about that because he's spawning as a light champion. He's already got less resources than other champions, and the stuff you would normally pick up to give yourself a fighting chance, vengeurR was just hoovering up absolutely everything. It was a masterclass of item denial, and quite rightly so. It has brought him back into this just before Grand Finals.
Now, I don't know if it's gonna show up in the highlights, but this is one of those games where you really can pinpoint one particular moment at which everything changed. And that is that moment where RAISY managed to get himself a frag, went to force out the spawn instead of going for the major item. He could have just made a position onto Mega first, but he was aggressive. He wanted the damage, he wanted another frag, and in doing so, he actually gave vengeurR a perfect line of sight on the item, handed, this is where it happens. He RAISY, rather than going for the Mega himself, tried to force vengeurR in a bad situation. vengeurR picking up the heavy nails, doing so much damage, stealing away the Mega, and then RAISY, sometimes completely caught off, ends up dropping a frag, and that is when vengeurR turned that slight advantage into a consistent rotation, as you mentioned, eating up every single resource on the map, and it gave him the win. That one engagement was so crucial.
In that final cluster near the end, the vast majority of those frags was about 3 in a row, at least caught on replay, where RAISY had no armor. And that was the goal. Keep him low. Keep him starving for armor on the map. And I'll just win all these fights because my aim is godlike and you have no stack. And he was able to play extremely well. That's going to bring us on to our next match now, which I do believe is going to be Blood Run. So we haven't seen Blood Run a lot today. Well, not much this weekend, actually, in fact. It hasn't been the most popular map, but with how these two players are approaching things, are we going to get... If I put you on the spot, Flea, are we going to get a slow-paced Blood Run going down to a couple of frags, or are we going to get the more modern Quake Pro League Blood Run where it's just mayhem?
I mean, I would have probably guessed that the previous map would also have been pretty slow, but that's nothing like what we saw. Now, this time around, though, the champion picks probably do favor a slower, more passive playstyle. We've got the Eisen up against the Keel, so both players using a champion that isn't that particular movement based. Neither really has that extreme mobility. They don't have grapple hooks, they don't have orbs or double jumps or wall jump or any of the sort. Instead, just walking and jumping is basically all they've got. But they do have a tremendous potential to dish out damage, and I think that that might force both of these players into a slightly slower and more passive playstyle.
A lot of pressure to hit these shots against someone like Keel, who not only has a lot of tankiness to him, but the ability to dish out tons of damage thanks to his shoulder grenades. And set up into an arguably better position this early on. He has a lot of control over the 2 items that are about to spawn. Information overload, but the sneak attack from RAISY is so good. Did he just... Oh, but he gets the turnaround anyway. I was about to say, did RAISY just take a leisurely stroll up those stairs to sneak up on him?
It kind of looked like it. I wasn't expecting it either. And I also thought that RAISY was actually dropping down to the railgun. I didn't think he was going to make that jump, and then somehow he's still up there. Nice little grenade coming through from RAISY. Things are all tied back up. We are getting a pretty aggressive opener to this map. I'm expecting things to slow down a bit at the later stages when there's less of an opportunity for players to mount a comeback when they fall behind. But now, next major item is the Mega. RAISY wants this. He is still going to take it, but wants to push out ahead. Loving this play from RAISY. He knows exactly where vengeurR is expecting him to reappear, which is at that doorway for Mega. So instead, he does the complete opposite. Hugs the wall, sneaks on up to the very front, that small armor, and then peeks out from there, looking to do some extra damage. Really clever play from RAISY, subverting expectations in the hopes of doing some damage there too.
Positioning from vengeurR. Oh, that's a nice turret.
Yeah.
Not just the damage that the turret provides, but it is the body block properties. Very annoying. Nice rail from RAISY though, and it's going to guarantee him a Mega and the rocket jump push. vengeurR definitely heard that, so he knows what the plan of attack's going to be. The question is, can he actually stop it with the lack of stack that he's working with? It's simply going to get worse now too, thanks to the heavy being soaked up. And this is that nature of a large champion like Keel who can just absorb. And when he has a fight, it's grenade time.
Much more of a restrained game in the second minute compared to the first one. Mainly because RAISY is just in full control right now. vengeurR has to make do with the scraps he's finding at that top area of the map. I still like that he's moving around more than just that though, because he knows if he turns a corner and Keel is just slow walking around it, he is in a bad spot. He's not playing Ranger, he doesn't have any direct, immediate burst damage potential. Yes, he can throw out, of course, the turret, but that takes a little while to deploy. And if RAISY is staring you down at a moment's notice with those Keel shoulder cannons, you're in for a really bad time. So vengeurR not just sticking around to that same predictable area of the map, but still maneuvering and getting more of the resources.
He's doing a good job of being hard to hit, and there's the big plan. So much of that stack. No, the mistake! RAISY doesn't get the launch onto heavy. Can he capitalize on this? Can he make the most of a bad situation? Incredibly weak, and he has to watch out. The shotgun doesn't hit its mark. RAISY gonna be kicking himself after that one.
He also ran out of rockets in the middle of that fight, the click. If he had the rockets, he probably could have done so much better, but he had to make a move with the super shotgun, and when you're playing Keel and you're a huge big body target, those fights tend to favor your opponent. Now RAISY, excellent read, immediately getting a refrag, shotgun. Having proven to be a bit of a favorite weapon of both of these players so far, we've seen so much damage with the super shotgun already. The LG, the tracking, it is perfect. RAISY forcing vengeurR right back into the defensive.
If it's RAISY and heavy, he's going to find some kind of trick jump. That was a nice display of rockets back to back. He does control the armor though. Looking for this rail angle, one that vengeurR has to show the utmost respect thanks to his lack of armor. A long time on this Mega that vengeurR's actually not going to challenge, just waiting around on the spot. This is just information for the Mega, I think. Go for one potential rocket. We're out now. Oh. More rails. Ah, just slightly misses. As we're verging on the halfway point. It's still too close to call. RAISY does command a lot more of the items, but it's very much because vengeurR is allowing that to be the case. We've said so many times how dangerous vengeurR is as a player who is allowing you to take these items. You will outstack him, yet somehow he'll win fights that you'll never expect.
5-minute warning.
Aggressive push right there. That's a very common tactic on this map, to try and chase down an opponent that is holed up in this secret part of the map over at the nail gun and that top green small armor. RAISY's gotta be careful though. Luckily for him, the LG strong as always. vengeurR at a solid position. Won't matter much though, because RAISY, even after that engagement, taking a whole lot of damage, he has the resources behind him. And he knows exactly how far he can push himself before he has to retreat. That is RAISY's game plan right now. He takes a fight like this, he knows, I can take a whole lot of damage. You want to hit me with 2 direct rockets, that's fine. I'm going to continue trying this exact same thing until it works, even sneak away one of your small armors, and then I'm just gonna loop back around and secure the big ones. And there you go, and I'm going to keep doing that, and sooner or later you are going to drop that, and there is nothing you can do about it. Both of the small armors have been denied by RAISY, despite being in full control and also having the heavy. This is incredible, Ketchup. Such powerful in-control play! And the tri-ball to boot. Beautiful work from RAISY.
RAISY's going to keep timing in all of these items as well. So if he can get vengeurR weak for another time, that's just ultimate denial, isn't it? I'm going to control the main stuff, but also the little bits that you would normally use to try and save your own skin. Now, as this is Blood Run, RAISY, he's going to hit these defensive angles really hard. He has to minimize as much of this damage as possible, gets the Mega, but the grenades, thankfully, able to save him. Benefit of Keel being able to use his grenades in between shots that would otherwise guarantee his death. Another frag goes. He actually hasn't really got the health to take that heavy.
He was about to rocket jump or nail jump first, but then he realized this is a bit too risky. I could easily suicide right there, and that is not something he's up for right now.
That turret gives vengeurR information. More of that range damage coming through. RAISY trying to shut down any of these advances. He knows he's weak. Can he play the slow game? Can he avoid vengeurR while he builds the stack back up to normal? The pressure is on vengeurR here. Remember, RAISY 2-1 up. All right, armor. Ooh, that rail undoes a lot of that hard work. Is vengeurR going to chase this down? Trying to head him off. RAISY thinking a little bit ahead, but vengeurR has the angle. And now the comeback is real.
vengeurR playing a very careful, cautious game, because he knows that if he gets caught in a close quarter situation, even if he has the stack advantage, those grenades, they can help so much. RAISY! What was that all about? I feel like that might have been an unintentional drop down, because vengeurR really hadn't taken all that much damage. He basically only took 1 grenade to the face, and that was it. And still RAISY dropped onto that LG, and that was so painful. Hiding around the corner though. Yeah, vengeurR sent back. RAISY putting the pineapple into vengeur's pizza right there. Slapping him back for the time being.
Wouldn't have been vengeurR and RAISY without at least one of those references.
You need them to catch
The
him.
thing is, Flea, he's been able to equalize, but look at the armor once more. He shuts down the Mega as much as he can, but it's not enough, and a giant push from RAISY with 1.5 minutes on the clock and an impressive stack. This is where things get critical for vengeurR, because now he just doesn't have a lot of time on a map that is notoriously defensive. A good amount of LG, but the grenade, the instant 50, that's exactly what RAISY needed. The fight towards heavy. Does vengeurR push? Who's more patient? The game of chicken begins. And this is tournament life on the line. RAISY onto the fight first. He gets the heavy at what cost? Does he get hit again? No, sounds like a bit of a rail miss, and now RAISY is very healthy. It's not even about surviving now, it's the fact that vengeurR is tender. He has to try not to get fragged himself while trying to make a comeback. This is one of the hardest positions, Flea, to find yourself in.
Yes, indeed. 45 seconds left on the clock. vengeurR, those are some good opening rockets though. RAISY, loving the positioning here from the Hungarian player though. Spamming a lot of those grenades. Looking for the finish there too. Yeah, that could be the final nail in the coffin, Ketchup.
With how this map can play out, players that are incredibly defensive, the turret, the attempt is made, the rail into grenade, the damage is insane, and that is going to be the GG's. vengeurR gives it his absolute all. Heartbreakingly cannot bring us into a final map, but that does mean that it's going to be RAISY in the Quake World Championships Grand Finals to meet Rafa.
Lots of respect from vengeurR, and of course from RAISY too. These guys, they know, they love each other, they're teammates nonetheless. And vengeurR, yeah, indeed. After beating RAISY yesterday, beating him on the previous land, now he does drop down when it matters the most, and we are going to get a repeat of the Stage 2 finals. It'll be Rafa, Liquid Rafa taking on Maestro RAISY in a best of 7, but Rafa, of course, coming from the winner's bracket, will have that one map advantage.
So I guess, Flea, the stage is set. It's going to be RAISY and Rafa going head-to-head for another time. I'm really excited. We have a lot to talk about, and I can't wait to see the grand finals. On that note, we're going to go for a quick break. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.